Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be priming our cases. This is a very simple process. You don't have to make it a difficult process. As you can see here, I've got my primers dumped out in my little tray here. If you look closely, you can see there's lines in that little tray. This is going to also be our priming tray. So we're actually going to leave these in here. We don't have to flip these or anything. So here's the lid to the priming tray. It's over here off the side. So once I dump my primers in here, and these are small pistol primers for the 40 caliber. These are 40 cals. Oh, and guess what? I found some gloves. So we'll be using gloves today, so my hands won't get dirty. If you look close, you can see all that brass color on my fingertips right there where I've been flaring the tops of these things. So we've moved on from the 45s, excuse me, the 45 ACPs. I'm not equipped right now to load these 45 ACPs. I have them already, but I'm going to wait for my Dillon to come in before I do them. And I misspoke. I am equipped. I'd rather try those on the Dillon rather than over here on the single stage press. I've done thousands and thousands of 45 ACPs on this single stage, and I just want to have something to run with in my new press. So the 45s is what I saved that for. So let's get on with this video. So we have 40 calibers here, and we're going to prime them today. And like I said, it's not a hard process. So once you get your primers dumped in this little tray right here with the one with the lines in it. So if you have a flip tray, the flip trays, I have a flip tray right here. Here's a flip tray, and you pull it apart, and if you look, it has lines in it too. So you dump your primers in here. You shake them until they all come one side. Put the lid on it, flip it over, hence the flip tray. You pull it out, and depending on what you're doing with it, from here on out I'll be putting mine in primer tubes. So, but in this case, we want them to all be facing up. So we're gonna shake them until they all face up, and it doesn't take long. So there's 67 of them in here, and the reason there's 67 is because I had some left over in a box. I had some left over. That one's full too. I had some left over in a box, and I just wanted to use them all up. Sometimes my OCD wants me to use the whole box, so I'll probably have to use a partial box over here too. So anyway, once you get them flipped over, you want to put the lid on. Okay, now I'm going to tip this up and show it to you. Okay, there's a little mouth right here, and this little mouth goes inside this little, I don't know what it's called, a priming handle or whatever. This is an RCBS hand prime. So, and all you do is squeeze it. Okay, that's all you do. It's as easy as that. So what you want to do with this, there's a little slot on the side. If you can see that little white slot right there, that tray slides right into that white slot. It's hard to do on camera. Slides right into that white slot. In this case, it's white. This white plastic piece is for the small pistol primers. And while I'm on the subject, I'm going to go ahead and set that down. I'm going to show you how to deal with this. A lot of folks may not know how to do this. So first of all, you want the appropriate shell holder for your case. This is a 40 caliber, so I'm using the 40 caliber shell holder. I think different manufacturers have different numbers or different ways that they code these. So just find the correct shell holder right there. This is the black. This is the large pistol primer, or the large primer apart. Now, let me show you. They come apart into two pieces. I imagine they do that because maybe you get a primer stuck in there or something and you need to take it apart. So, but when it goes back together, it goes back together like this. You're going to put your shell holder on top, like so. And to keep from taking my whole priming tool apart, there's a screw right, I don't know if you can see it now. There it is, it's right there. It's a little thumb screw kind of thing. Let's see, turn it this way. There you go, there it is. So that's the key of the whole thing. You loosen it up, and I don't take mine all the way out. So just loosen it up almost all the way. And then there's this little guide right here. And this little guide is connected by this screw. Now, notice I'm keeping this handle closed. So once you get it unscrewed, not unscrewed enough, just take this and slide it out. Okay? And that's what it looks like. Okay? So that's that. Then you want to ease back off that handle just a little bit. And then, well, you can't see it. Take this piece, push it from this side. Notice it has a little flat right here. So I'm going to push it from that side, pull it out, and then guess what? There's the small pistol primer. I don't know what that thing's called, but this is the shell case holder, and it sits right on top of that small pistol primer. So to put it back together, you're going to have a big hole right here. So take this long end right here, slip it in your handle, and then this shell case holder is held in place by the piece of, it's held centered by the piece of plastic, and then it sits on top of this piece of aluminum right here. Okay, notice my handle's still closed. If you let this go, there's a pivot point in here, and that pivot point will come undone, and it's kind of a pain to put back together. I've done it several times because I've let it go too far, but it's just the best practice to go ahead and you put this piece, this guide back in place. There's a little slot in the plastic piece for that, and then you tighten up your thumb screw. So it's pretty simple. I know I talked about it longer than it usually takes. So now there's a rod, okay, and this is a small pistol rod, or a small rod. There's a small rod and a large rod. So if you look very closely, I don't know if this camera will focus enough. Let's hold it like this. There's one side that's flat. There's one side that has a little bit of a crown on it. And this is the side with the crown on it. You see that? That's hard to tell. It doesn't look like it in that picture. Oh, I'm sorry. I had it backwards. This is the side with the crown on it. So I don't know if you can see that or not. It's not really focused. But that's the round part, and the round part goes down. The flat part is specified to your primer. So you want it pointing up. So take the round end, stick it in first, let it fall down in there, and it just rides down in there. So when you squeeze it, you should be able to see just the tip of the rod come up. See where it's coming up through the hole? Okay. And the next thing you want to do is go ahead. Remember, I've got 67 of these in here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this thing in. It may be off camera, but almost right. There we go. So remember what we talked about earlier, you plug it into that little, it fits just right. Okay? And the way I like to do it is to turn it over here, like so. Tip it up just a little bit. Now, this lid right here is designed for this. There's a little door on here. You'll see it if you own one of these. And so when I put it on there the first time, I put that door in front of the, well, let's just call it a gate. I put that gate in front of the little slot. So I'm going to spin that thing just a little bit, give it a little shake, and then you'll have about 4 or 5 primers, maybe 6, go down into that white slot. Now, I've learned that if I push this, the little white thing, and push, and I push that piece all the way, it runs smoother. Okay. So I'm going to turn my shell holder to where the slot is actually, well, the slot's actually pointing up. So when I put the case, or when I put the brass in here, it'll actually sit there. So when I put this piece of brass on, I put it on, and I don't put my hand on it. And the reason I don't put my hand on it is because if you notice, it shakes just a little bit. Can you hear that? It shakes. So I want it to sit freely in there. And then I want to squeeze until it stops. Don't over squeeze, just squeeze it till it stops, okay? Comes out, and we have a primer in the bottom of that case. Okay? Let's do one more just for demonstration purposes. Okay, empty case. That's a nice clean primer pocket because I take pride in my work. And remember, I'm handicapped in my left hand, so take my brass, put it in there, take my hand off of it, squeeze till it stops, let go, and bang. Now, how do I know I put it in there right? Okay, how you know you put it in there right? This hand prime tool is kind of gauged to where it'll stop. You don't have, if you over squeeze it, you can crush the primer. So don't over squeeze it. Just squeeze it, like I said, until it stops. You probably can't tell in the picture, but it's just a hair below flush. And I can see it, and I can see it in the camera too. It's just a wee bit below flush. And if you take your finger, and I can't feel my left hand, if you take your finger and rub it across there, you can feel that it's just a hair below flush. So that's what you're looking for, okay? And so that does it for this video. God bless you. I hope you learned something. This has been a longer video than I had intended, but I hope you learned something, okay? Have a nice day.